My name is Hannah. I am a social work student at Colorado State University Pueblo, and for this video series, I researched the societal and family structure of the Mountain Ute of southern Colorado. As a result of that research, we learned a great deal about traditional Mountain Ute society and culture. We learned that traditional Ute society has a complex social structure in which everyone has a place in the family unit besides on their age, gender, and relation to one another. Traditionally, there was a sharp division of labor between the sexes, with certain tasks being a man's work and certain tasks being a woman's work. Men hunted larger game, such as deer, and were in charge of making weapons and tools such as bows, arrows, traps, drive lines, and corrals. Women gathered plant foods and were in charge of making objects such as baskets. And while fishing itself was a man's task, making the nets and fishing gear was the task of the woman. Women would also cook the food, build shelters, prepare skins, and make pottery. Both women and men may participate in shamanistic rituals and have spiritual roles within the tribe. Marriages were arranged by the parents and extended family of both the husband and bride. Marriage within families is expressly forbidden within Ute culture. You can't marry anyone you shared a great-grandparent with, so no cousin marriages or even second cousin marriages, which used to be practiced all over the rest of the world. Furthermore, marrying outside the Ute people was expressly banned. A Ute could not marry a Navajo or a Hopi. A traditional Ute marriage ceremony is informal, and in many cases, the man and the woman having sexual intercourse at the woman's residence is considered traditional, and that is all that is necessary for them to be married. The family unit was historically matrilocal, meaning that the man would go to live with his wife's family instead of staying with his family or striking out to form their own household. Despite this, divorces could still happen for reasons of sterility, infidelity, or incompatibility. If this happened, the man would leave the household, but his children would stay with their mother and her family. Traditionally, a household was headed by the grandparents, with all of their daughters and their spouses living with them as well as any grandchildren. So the middle generation were all siblings or brothers-in-law, and the youngest generation were all cousins with one another. The younger children were taken care of by their older siblings and by their grandparents, as their mothers were often busy with chores and tasks. However, their siblings were too young to help out much, and their grandparents were too old to do heavy lifting, so they raised the babies. Children are highly prized in Ute culture, and were sometimes spoiled by the entirety of their extended family. The primary method of disciplining a child would be ridicule and shaming, as opposed to more physical means common in other cultures. A boy's first successful hunt of a large animal was his rite of passage into manhood. However, they were forbidden to actually eat the meat from their first hunt, and instead had to give it to an older relative. For girls, their first menstruation was celebrated by the family and accompanied by imposing food restrictions and certain taboos on the girl until her period had passed. The social life of Ute has historically revolved around the family. Elders are greatly respected and given special consideration. They serve as group leaders and play an important role in interpersonal issues. At a Ute traditional funeral, most of the personal items of the deceased were burned, but rights to land and water were passed down to surviving family members through the female line. Before we began researching this topic, I knew basically nothing about the Mountain Ute, but doing research on this project has opened doors and allowed me to acknowledge that many different Native American cultures are all different in their own unique way. In researching their society and culture, I learned that Ute tribe is still going strong today. As a social work major, it is important to know the history of other peoples living in the area, and to be aware of their culture. And as a college student, I believe it is important that this sort of information is taught more regularly and more openly to students of all ages, so that we can learn about and appreciate the cultures of the native people of Colorado.
As students of the Honors Program at Colorado State University, Pueblo, we believe that an understanding of Ute culture is important to an understanding of the history of southern Colorado as a whole, and of Pueblo County in particular. That is why we set out to create this video series to help educate others about the Ute people. None of us are members of the Ute Nation and are not experts, so it was surprising what we learned and what we didn't know that we didn't know. Because of our inexperience with this topic, we have compiled a list of the sources we have used to create these video lectures. This list of sources will be available in the description of this video and every video in this series. Furthermore, for more information, you can visit the website of the Ute Mountain Reservation at www.utemountaintribe.com, or check out the Colorado Experience series of videos produced by Rocky Mountain PBS.